Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here. Welcome back to another Nikke Goddess of Victory video. Today's video we're going to talk about Crust right here. Alright, so I love Crust design. I think she's a very cute character overall. But whether or not she's a meta character is going to be a different story. So right now we are currently pre-2.5 anniversary. So that means we're going to have a couple of weeks before that's going to happen. Next week we're going to have a Nikke official live stream as well. Now there's a couple of things going on in the current patch as well. If you guys are not aware, we also have Champion Arena open right now. So make sure you guys, if you are participating in the Champion Arena, make sure you guys are doing that as well. I will make a separate video on that. One more thing is, if you guys are not aware, the side story right here you can see, we currently have a new side story about Little Mermaid. That's called Mudfish right here on the top left. So make sure you guys do that. The story Nikke is always going to be a very good one. And I'm going to be playing that on the stream later today. So first things first, let's talk about Cruss. Is she strong or not? Now Cruss is a burst 2 character. She's a rocket launcher supporter character, as you can see, water element, and she specializes in giving buffs depending on whether or not it's sustained damage or distributed damage. So she's gonna have two very distinct buffs. Now as you can see, Cruss was released right after Bready was released as well. Cruss is going to be a very good pickup for those of you who have Bready. But for those of you who don't have Bready, is she worth picking up? Let's first show you guys the pulls. Then we're going to talk about the skills. Okay, let's see if we can pull for Cruss. And let's see if we can get lucky. Do I think she'll be good for damage distribution? I don't really think, right? I'm just going to test her and find out ourselves. But our distribution Nikke is pretty much going to be, what's her name, right? Scarlet Black Shadow. So that is pretty much what it is. She is very pink. She is very pink, right? And the pinker it is, the cuter it is. So that's just how it is. Too much cuteness. Crust is the new one. Okay, let's see. Is this it? So many duos. Yeah, she might not be as much of a duo compared to the... Oh, two! Okay, she's not Elysian, right? She's not Elysian. So this is going to be someone else. Okay, so it's Quarry. But we still got one more hope. One more hope.
Nicely done. Where'd you
No! No, she's not Tetra, right? Oh wait, she is.
Crust will make loads of
Yeah, I thought she's Missy Liz.
you.
Yeah, I thought she would be in the same faction as $200 unit. Okay, so in that case, we got Cruss. Alright, that's pretty cool. So now we can test her. Not too bad of a luck today, eh? Okay, so Cruss has joined the party. Now first things first, let's look at Cruss's skill right here. For skill 1, skill 2, alright, grill and boil. So I'm going to try to break it down for you guys, right? So she has two conditions similar to how Bready works, alright? So what is this condition? So she is going to either have a melee buff or a blanching buff. Now both melee status or blanching status is going to basically affect everyone, alright? It's going to give them buffs depending on what it is. So as you can see, both are going to have the 10% of caster's attack increase, alright? Now how do you activate the melee condition? As you can see, landing 3 normal attacks without full charge is going to do that. So basically you just spam shots. This one is going to be much easier for you to activate, and this one is going to be the better one. Alright, the melee status is going to be the better one. Now the other status is called blanching. Blanching, again, it's much more annoying or harder for you to be able to obtain this, because you are going to require for you to basically hold the button longer than you should, right? And you need to do this 3 times. Okay, let's show you guys in a real battle how do we apply this status, melee and blanching. Let's talk about melee first. So melee status, right now you can see if I look at my character Cruss, we don't have anything, right? This is from the other character. So how do we activate melee status? You just spam 3 shots. So 1, 2, 3. Now you can see my Cruss is surrounded by this heart-shaped aura, right? There's this heart-shaped thing going on. So now I have melee status, alright? So you can see right here. So melee increase attack by 10%. Alright, and then reliable cooking is basically my skill 2. So basically, if you stop spamming, right? If you stop shooting, basically melee gets removed. Now melee is going to be easier for you to play with auto, because if you are autoing, she will still be shooting, right? She will still be shooting until full charge. So you will always have the melee status if you play on auto. Melee is going to be the better one between the two. Alright, so as you can see, now we have a melee status again. Now how about the other status, the blanching status? Now blanching status is harder for you to obtain. It is going to basically require you to hold your charge until you hear the sound. Okay, listen carefully, right? I'm going to hold my charge. You hear that ting, fire 1 time, ting, fire 2 times, ting, fire 3 times. Okay, so now I have this status called the blanching status. Alright, you hold until you hear that ting. So it's actually more than 1 second, even though they say hold for 1 second. Now blanching is going to give you a different condition. Now remember, melee, spam, blanching, hold, way harder to do in auto. The auto AI will never hold that long. Alright, it will hold and it will release when it's full charge. You need to hold longer than you should. Now that's going to connect to the burst skill, which we're going to see shortly. Now the problem with the blanching is you have to sort of manual the entirety of the game if you're trying to just get this buff, whereas melee, you just need to activate it at the beginning and then you can just let the AI auto status is going to remain permanent on the entirety of the battle. So melee is going to be the better one for you, right? Now as for skill 2, it doesn't matter which of the status you do, you are going to get defense increase as well, right? And then you can see right here, activates when entering full burst. When all targets in melee or blanching status, you're going to get increased attack by 20%. Okay, so where it gets really interesting is going to be on her burst skill, right? So the burst skill is when we are going to determine what is going to happen, right? Either we are in melee or in blanching. So as you can see, when we activate our burst, we are going to get attack damage increased by 20%. And then if you are in melee, again, this is the one that's the better one in my opinion, distributed damage is going to increase by 60%. When you are in blanching, sustained damage is increased by 10%. Now remember, Bready is going to have a special condition where she needs either distributed damage buff or sustained damage buff to be able to give her higher damage, right, in terms of her skill kit. Now I did test specifically with Bready, as you can see right here. In the same team, alright, for melee, we got Nikke, Cruss, Bready, Scarlet, and Laplace. So just ignore these other two, right? We don't really worry about the other one. Everything is the same, but using melee status, we are getting more buffs for Bready, alright, more damage as opposed to the blanching status. Now again, like I said, the blanching status is just not worth it to use. You can see right here it's only 10%, alright? Whereas the distributed damage for melee is 60%. And also, to be able to sustain the blanching status, you would have to manual your Crust. She is going to be a burst 2 and you have to hold your burst longer than you should. That can basically, I feel like that's not going to be super practical in a lot of situations or in a lot of battle. But you do have that option, right, in the future if you ever want to have a status for sustained damage buff, but it's just not practical because especially in a solo raid situation, sometimes if the enemy has like the red circles that you have to shoot, and then you gotta like, there's no way for you to hold, right? You just gotta like release it, and therefore you might not be able to get the buff stay there. Alright, so as you can see right here, I have two separate teams to try out if Crust is a better distributed damage buffer compared to, of course, Mast and Anchor. Now, Mast and Anchor is a duo, right? So you get this mate Mast and mate Anchor. So they are known to be one of Bready's best supporters. Or previously we tested them out. I think this is going to be the best one for Bready. Now, can Crust dethrone them in terms of the damage buffs? Not really, right? As you can see here, 1.7 billion with the Mast and Anchor. And then for the Crust team right here, we only got 1.3. So here's the thing about the truth about this, right? Obviously, it's not fair to compare Crust versus both characters right here because this duo is Mast and Anchor duo is like two characters. But at the same time, you got the flexibility to put in a character right here. I decided to put Maxwell because Maxwell can buff both Bready and Scarlet using her skill 1, right? So skill 1 passive. But even then, we can't really beat the score of Mast and Anchor. So the team on the left is also going to be a bit lacking because Crust, while she does give buffs, she's a decent buffer, right? Distributed damage right now, Scarlet Black Shadow, Bready, and I think Quincy Escape Queen. These are the three best distributed damage characters right now for the burst 3 slot. However, we don't really need them explicitly, right? As you can see right here, because Crust doesn't really give any healing capabilities, whereas for both Mast and Anchor right here, they do, which is going to be a, you know, they are just a better value, even though you have to pull for 2, right? Now, if I were to compare Crust with another character that I think some of you guys may have or may not have, and that is going to be Mari Makinami here, an Evangelion collab character. You can see right here, I am putting them in a distributed team as well. So notice on the left, we got Lita, Mary, Quincy Escape Queen, Scarlet Black Shadow, Noah. On the right, we got Lita, Cruss, you know, same team. The only difference is Mari Makinami versus Cruss. Now, as you can see, Mari beats out Cruss. Alright, we just get overall more score in total. And Mari is much more of a universal damage buffer compared to Cruss. As you can see, right, if you notice correctly, Scarlet Black Shadow, she does more damage right there, but not Quincy Escape Queen. Maybe the Quincy Escape Queen one, 5-3-1 versus 5-1 is more like a plus minus 5% margin of error, right? But you can see Mari Makinami will be able to get more damage as a whole. So she's not going to replace Mari in a distributed team. So I don't see her replacing Mari at all, because Mari is a universal buffer and she is going to work overall in more characters. If Cruss cannot beat Mari Makinami and Cruss cannot beat Mars Romantic and Mars Anchor, Cruss is not going to be able to beat Grave, she's not going to be able to beat Crown. She is probably going to be a character that I would suggest skipping, because right now Burst 2, you're pretty much stacked in terms of Burst 2, right? You have characters like Trina that came out recently. I feel like Trina has better value if you are looking to build a solid team for Electric, you know, get her with Scarlet. I feel like Crust, you don't really need her for Bready. She is not like that must-have if you have Bready. She's an okay character, but as you can see, plenty of other Burst 2 outperforms her right now. So yeah, that's my overall review of day 1 for Crust. Let me know what you guys think. I think she's a pretty fun character. I love her design, but sadly right now, you know, it's better for you guys to start saving for 2.5 anniversary. We'll have plenty of reveals next week. So we're gonna have plenty of stuff for us to look at, and definitely it's going to be a very, very exciting one. So with that, that's gonna be it for now. Subscribe if you guys haven't already. Give this video a like if you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch as well if you guys want to watch me stream Nikke or any other gacha games, right? So I'll be hanging out there. If you guys got any questions, feel free to follow me on Twitch as well. As always, have a nice day. Goodbye.